Angry guy here. And women are furious. Men are leaving them homeless. Women are furious that men are leaving them homeless. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. We actually reviewed it in another video, but we're going to go ahead and talk about this again because it's so pivotal.
A world where more and more men are single because women do not want to date them is a world that's very dangerous for women, which is why I worry about retaliation in reaction to the rise of single men. We actually have data from this year that shows young women are way less interested in dating than young men are. And we have data to show that more women than men are single because they simply cannot find someone they are interested in dating. 38% of single American women say the main reason they're not dating is they can't find someone that meets their expectations, compared to only 23% of men say the same thing. College-educated women are the group most likely to say they are single because they can't find someone that meets their expectation, 45%. And I can hear the men in my comments now saying, see, it's women's fault. They have too high of expectation and that's why everyone is single and lonely. But let me remind you that women have always entered into marriages with the expectation that it is going to materially improve their lives. We needed husbands for financial security. We needed them for bank accounts, for credit cards, to have a house to live in. And now women are doing better than men. We are more educated. We are stable on our own. And women who are independent and self-sustaining do not need to get married. When you don't financially need a husband or a partner, you can say, I'm not going to get a partner until I find one that's emotionally supportive, emotionally intelligent, doesn't need me to be his therapist and his mom, doesn't need me to do all the childcare, all the housework. And men will tell you, they do in my comments every single day, that these expectations are just simply too much. I fear for escalating retaliation that this will cause interpersonally between men and women, and also in legislative and policy decisions, like the push to get rid of no-fault divorce, in the rolling back of reproductive rights, and with things like student debt and college affordability. They're not going to make college more affordable when more women going to college results in higher expectations of the men that want to date us. So yeah, that's why I worry about retaliation of men who cannot make it worth it for women to want to date and marry.
Now, guys, this video goes in conjunction with this article, and it basically says woman examines potential risk for women in society shifting away from traditional relationships. This is a feminist that is screaming and shouting and crying the fact that men are walking away, men are no longer traditional, men are choosing not to date, not to marry, not to have children. She goes into detail explaining how wonderful women are, how women are outperforming men. And she's basically saying that now as men are walking away and choosing to no longer support women's causes, no longer support women, no longer provide for women, this is going to have a harmful effect on women. This could end up leading to increased cases of women being deleted, increased cases of women falling into poverty, increased cases of women having to pay more for higher education. So basically, she's shifting all the blame onto men for everything bad that may happen to women in the future because men are walking away and choosing not to have relationships with women. She said at the very beginning that women have always chosen men based on men being able to make their lives better. But that was before women could go out and earn their own money. And now they're outperforming men. But the thing is that women are still looking for men that do better than them. If a woman makes $50,000 a year, she wants a guy that makes over $100,000 a year. In many cases, even a millionaire, so that she can have a life of luxury where she has a cook, a cleaner, and she doesn't have to do anything. And they say that they are the table, and men are hearing this around the world. There was a Russian man recently, I did not watch the video, who basically flipped out on Keisha. This man is over in Russia, and he flipped out on Keisha. He saw a video online, he flipped out on Keisha. He was like, Keisha, you need to behave yourself. All right? Men around the world are watching what's happening, and they are sick and tired of it because guys are comparing notes. If you look at the manosphere right now, you have Asian men, Hispanic men, black men, white men. You have all different groups of men, Indian men. All of these men are on here. And they're all saying they're going through the exact same stuff. What the internet did, what the manosphere did, was it allowed men to begin comparing notes, and they discovered they were all going through the exact same stuff with their women. And it's not just men in Western society. There are men outside of Western society that started writing in and saying, hey guys, we're having these problems down here in Mexico. We're having these problems over here in Brazil. We're having these problems over here in India. So don't think that it's all, peaches and gravy over here and strawberries and rainbows. No, we're having these problems here too. Men started dishing in like they want to be heard. Guys, listen, this is what's happening. And they start to quantify it and compile information. And you know how men are so analytical. And this is the result of that, men walking away from Western society and relationships in Western society. And these women, they can't survive. Women are realizing now they can't survive without men. But of course, they're not going to admit to it. They're going to fight for things like the bachelor tax. They're going to fight for things like travel bans. They're going to do everything they can possibly do to keep men on the plantation. The next step is going to be trying to restrict things like access to video games and entertainment eventually if it gets bad enough. That won't work, just like they did during the fall of Rome, where basically before the fall of Rome, where Julius' sister, it was either Julius or Augustus Caesar, said that, single men were worse than all the criminals in all of the Roman Empire, worse than the thieves, worse than the leaders, worse than the guys who took it whenever they wanted it. They were worse than all of these men because they were not marrying, and they were barred from going to the Colosseum, being allowed to watch plays. So they couldn't go to wrestling matches. They couldn't go to the movies. They were barred from all public entertainment, and during the winter time they had to run behind one another like a chain gang. And even then they still would not marry. And fast forward like 100 or 200 years later, the Roman Empire no longer has a military. They're using mercenaries to pay to protect the empire. And the mercenaries eventually realize the emperor has no clothes because he's trying to pay them in land. They basically pillage the entire empire, and we are thrown into 1,000 years of darkness, also known as the Dark Ages. Guys, you don't understand just how dark the Dark Ages were. There are some people who try to say, oh, well, we had temples that were built and chapels that were built during the Dark Ages. Bro, people were living in people were living in caves and eating dark meat and eating squirrel meat. All right, duck meat, squirrel meat. They were living in caves and eating squirrel meat. It was a terrible, terrible time in humanity. Don't forget about the plague and how many lives, how many people were deleted as a result of the plague. Who's responsible for this? Women. Okay, the Roman Empire was thriving. Then they introduced no-fault divorce. The women began divorcing their husbands, marrying gladiators, buying their freedom, hooking up with the gladiators, and then the Roman Empire fell into despair, and the men stopped working, and no work, no tax, no income, and unless you try to turn around and put the men into forcible labor, it's not going to work. Men work much harder in a society than if they were forced to work. Because if you have men on a plantation, they don't care. When people don't care and they don't take ownership of something, for example, you need people working in a business that actually care about the business. This is the reason why people don't like Gen Z in the workforce. They say that they're dishonest. They say that they're lazy. They say that they have to be monitored every single hour of the day. If you have people and you have forced labor, they'll work if there's a guy standing over them, but they're not going to do their best work. They're not going to go above and beyond. And here's the interesting thing. We don't have a society like this anymore where, you can just have them do, pick different, you can pick things off a field. No, you need people with advanced skills. People are going to stay up 16 hours and study all day. They're going to work all day, come home, study long hours to learn these skill sets so then they can go and apply them at a company and then spend many more years applying those skill sets for little pay and going through extraordinary hardships for a better future. When you look at it this way and you compare that to what people went through years ago, it's much worse. I'm not saying that forced labor is good, but think about how people have to work hard to just achieve things in this world. Think about the things men have gone through, the jobs that men do on construction. Imagine the kinds of things they put their bodies through. Construction workers, don't have a long shelf life because they put their bodies through so much excruciating pain and labor that they break down by the time they're in their 40s or 50s and they have to retire. And the Gen Z idiots, they don't have the skill sets to pick this up. And the only reason that men would put themselves through this is not because they want to go and do these kinds of jobs. It's because of their families, their children, their wives. Why do men go and protect their country? Why do men risk their lives for their wives, for their children, so they have something worth protecting? If you tell men that, oh, you just have to do it because we say so, or we're going to shame you, we're going to make your life as miserable as possible, we're going to destroy you on social media, we're going to make it so that you don't even want to step outside of your home. But the men are already going inside of their homes and isolating themselves from society and women in society. I don't understand what these women are thinking, but it's basically bad girl math. It's bad girl math because in their minds, they think that by doing this and using these tactics that they've always used that have allowed them to get what they've wanted, that's how they're going to get what they want, because these men are conditioned to respond, have a fear-based response, and give these women what they want. They don't comprehend that they're not only driving these men away from the workforce and interacting with them, they're also driving them out of the country. And that's one of the reasons why they're attacking, why they're constantly going after and furious with foreign women, because foreign women are taking the so-called men that they did not want, and they know that they cannot subconsciously live without these men, but they will never admit to it. So what they will do is they will basically shame these men. They will go after these guys on social media. They'll go after the women on social media. And the funny thing is these women can't step foot out of the United States because they're now getting a terrible reputation. All right? Let Keisha try to go over to Brazil with this energy. Let Karen try to go over to the Dominican Republic with this energy. Let's see what's going to happen over there. Going around thinking they're going to become passport citizens. Oh, no, they're going to experience something else. All right? Y'all remember a girl named Natalie? Her first name started with Natalie, and then there was another part to it, Hollow, and then there's a third part to that, Way. Y'all remember that? These women think that they'll go overseas and they're gonna have fun. They're not. It's a whole different world out there. You disrespect a man, you piss off a guy and a man in his country, the rules are different. Men in Western society will walk away. A man in his own country, they tried that disrespect, that bad behavior over there. That's boy, oh boy, that's a fast way to get deleted. That's a fast way to get deleted and never be found. Women think that they can go around and do whatever they want all over this world because they are so entitled. And then they leave Western society and it's a whole different ball game. And this is why they are furious. This is why they are furious that men are leaving them homeless. I mean, guys, just look at this. Look at these things. Look at what's happening right here. You know, women realize that they're broke. They can't afford it anymore. The cost of living is so insane. Cost of living in 2023 is so bad. This TikToker says she brings home nearly $100,000 a year, but claims she was better off in 2012 earning minimum wage. And guys, it's very simple to understand that. It's really simple to understand that because women live off girl math until they can't do it anymore. You know? Okay, in the video she mentions she pays $1,650 in rent right now, compared to just $350 in 2012, right? And I mean, guys, they don't understand the real world. They don't understand. Women do not understand the real world. They don't understand inflation. They don't understand interest. They don't understand just how hard it is out there. And when you have a man at home that's paying all the bills for you, they take it for advantage. $1,650 a month works out to $19,800. $19,800. So she's paying literally, let's round that off to $20,000 a year. She is paying $20,000 a year in rent. Okay. And if she's making $100,000 a year, that's at least $25,000 that's gone. At least $25,000 gone from her salary. So she's not making. She said she makes almost now, so she doesn't make quite $100,000. Let's say she's left with $70,000, right? Let's say she's left with $70,000 after all her taxes are paid. Okay, $70,000. Subtract $20,000 from that. All right. Let's subtract $20,000 from that. Now she's down to $50,000. All right, that's for rent. But what about utilities? What about her utilities? Her everything else, cell phone, all of that. Let's call that $1,000. Okay, let's say she spends about $1,000 a month in utilities. That is $12,000. Okay. Oh, so we're going down real quick because women don't think about the hardships that men go through to provide for them. All right. So now she has $38,000 left for the year. Oh, but we're not done yet. We are absolutely not done yet, because what if she drives a car? Okay, she probably has a car. She's young. She drives a car. So how much is she spending? Let's say about $250. Let's say about 250, between 250 for a rent. Not a rent. Rent's covered. Let's say when we add in rent and not rent, insurance and monthly car payments, that's about $500. $500 a month. Oh my gosh, the money's going down quick. $500 a month. That's going to work out to $6,000 a year. So let's go ahead and subtract $6,000 from that. Oh my goodness, she's down to $32,000 now. So she has $32,000 left, all of that. But oh wait, there's more, because she needs to buy food, and modern women cannot cook. Modern women cannot cook, they cannot clean, so they are literally on the struggle bus. A lot of women will spend $3,000 a month on food. But you know what? Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's say she's only spending $1,500 a month on food, right? So 1,500, and that's compared to a lot of women, that's low. $1,500 a month on food. Let's go. That works out to $18,000 a year. Woo, we're going down real quick, boy. 18,000. So now we're down to, oh my gosh, $14,000. $14,000. And we haven't even talked about, anything else, like, buying clothing. We haven't talked about, about other things such as travel and anything else. So guys, all she has left, once we've done the math, it's about $14,000 to cover things such as travel expenses. So we didn't even put gas in there. Gas, and if she goes on, takes any trips, or if she buys clothing for herself, or any other luxuries. All she has is $14,000. Oh, and I hope she has healthcare, because healthcare costs, she probably has a premium. And guys, that could knock something else off too. That could knock even more off too. So guys, as you can see, these women don't even realize how good they had it. Because if you had a girl who was living with her mother and she was only making $30,000 a year, you need to understand this. Even though she was only making $30,000 a year, right? At the end of the day, she would keep most of that in her pocket. A lot of these young women, what they do is, even if they have like somewhere cheap to live, they still go home to mom and dad, and they eat, and mom and dad pays for their meals. But in the reality now, these women have to provide for themselves. They have to completely come up with everything for themselves. And how do you think this woman is living? There's no way she's living on just $14,000 a year for leisure and luxury, or for everything else that she wants. There is no way. Okay, so she's living on credit. Tell you right now, she is living on credit. This woman is living on credit. She is maxing out credit cards. She's probably using one credit card to pay another credit card. And this is the result that women have because of feminism. And now they're facing homelessness. And of course, the men don't care, because the men are walking away from Western society and they are never coming back. They are not even looking back. And that's why they're shaming and attacking passport kings, because they want men who are seeing these men leave to know that you better never try to do what the passport kings did, or we will try to shame you and defame you and destroy your lives if we have to make sure you don't leave us. All right? Because they are afraid of losing their beta male orbiters, and they don't know how to catch boys with honey. They only know how to catch them with flames. And they don't realize that the men are running away from the flames. And it's not just the men walking away, it's also the boys walking away. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Women are furious, men are leaving them homeless. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about them there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.